The Atlanta Falcons might have just been handed the biggest blessing of their entire 2025 season, and it came straight out of Stillwater, Oklahoma. A college coaching change that nobody saw coming could completely reshape the Falcons' future. And yes, this shocking twist is directly tied to their offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson. Falcons fans, buckle up, because this one could get wild. 2 days ago, the Oklahoma State Cowboys shocked the football world. They fired longtime head coach Mike Gundy after nearly 2 decades at the helm. Think about that, a man who had been the face of that program for 18, maybe 19 years, suddenly out the door. Poor performances on the field and issues off of it finally pushed the school to move on. Now here's where things get interesting for Atlanta. Zach Robinson, the Falcons' offensive coordinator, is not just another coach with ties to Oklahoma State, he's one of their legends. Back in the mid-2000s, Robinson was the quarterback who made Stillwater believe. He threw for over 8,000 yards, racked up 66 touchdowns, and carried a 61% completion rate in an era where that was considered rock solid. He wasn't just good, he was one of the best to ever put on a Cowboys jersey. Because of that history, Robinson's name is already exploding in coaching circles. Major outlets are floating him as a possible replacement for Gundy. Imagine that. The same guy who's trying to figure out Atlanta's sputtering offense right now could suddenly get pulled into the middle of a college coaching search. And here's the twist that makes this so important. Robinson's offensive system, which has looked frustrating and broken in the NFL, could actually thrive at the college level. The heavy pistol looks he loves, the run-heavy approach, the quirky formations, those things can dominate against college defenses. At Stillwater, he wouldn't just be a coordinator grinding to survive, he'd be a hero coming home. So what does this mean for Atlanta? If Oklahoma State really does go after Robinson, the Falcons could suddenly find themselves free of a coordinator whose offense has been stuck at the bottom of the league, 31st in points per game, near dead last in efficiency, and unable to maximize the talent on this roster. What looks like a setback for Robinson might actually be the lifeline Atlanta desperately needs. This isn't just a coaching rumor. This could be the moment that changes the entire direction of the Falcons season. Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. If Zach Robinson really leaves for Oklahoma State, would that be a blessing for Atlanta? Or do you think losing him would hurt the offense even more? Drop your confidence level in the comments, 1 to 10. How much would this move help the Falcons? When we talk about Zach Robinson's offense, here's the truth. It was built for college football, not the NFL. The pistol formation he loves, that heavy, run-focused, smash-mouth style, only works when your offensive line is flat-out stronger than the other team's defensive line. That's the secret. You need your big guys up front to bully the defense, shove them downfield, and open huge running lanes for your backs. Tailbacks, fullbacks, wingbacks. Whoever you line up back there, the system only thrives if your line dominates. And that's the problem in the NFL. In this league, you almost never get to bully anybody. Every defensive line is loaded with monsters, the best athletes in the world. You might win some battles, but you're not steamrolling defensive fronts week after week. That's why Atlanta's pistol looks stuck. It's predictable, it's sluggish, and it just doesn't create the mismatches Robinson needs. But in college? Oh, it's a different story. At a program like Oklahoma State, Robinson could absolutely thrive. The Cowboys are good enough to land strong recruiting classes, but they still face plenty of opponents who can't match up physically. Against those cupcake teams on the schedule, his offense could look dominant, pounding the ball, wearing defenses down, and racking up points. The same plays that look hopeless in the NFL could suddenly explode on Saturdays. So here's the big question every Falcons fan is asking: should Zach Robinson take the Oklahoma State job if it's offered? Some say yes, absolutely yes. In fact, many believe it would be the best move for both sides. Robinson gets to coach where he's a legend, and the Falcons finally move on from an offense that's ranked near the bottom of the league. But others still hold out hope. They think Robinson has more left to prove in Atlanta. Maybe the scheme just needs time, maybe the players aren't executing, Maybe there's still juice in the tank. And just to make things even more interesting, Robinson isn't just getting random media buzz. A former NFL superstar has already stepped forward, calling publicly for Robinson to take over at Oklahoma State. And Falcons fans, you definitely know this name. We're talking about Dez Bryant, yes, the Cowboys legend himself. Dez, who played alongside Robinson back in their Oklahoma State days, jumped on social media just 2 days ago and made it loud and clear. Oklahoma State, let's make Zach Robinson the next head coach. That's not a random fan tweet. That's a Hall of Fame level talent putting his stamp of approval on Robinson. Now I want to hear from you. If even Dez Bryant is backing Zach Robinson, does that change your mind? Should the Falcons actually hope he leaves for Oklahoma State, or should they give him one more chance in Atlanta? Drop your answers in the comments, yes or no, and tell me why. Let's be real, when a legend like Dez Bryant speaks, people listen. You might say, what does Dez Bryant know about coaching hires? But let's not forget who we're talking about. This man dominated Sundays for nearly a decade. Over 7,500 receiving yards, 537 catches, and 75 touchdowns. Those aren't just numbers, that's a resume built on greatness. If anyone understands what it takes to succeed in football, it's Dez. And the fact that he's publicly calling for Zach Robinson to take the Oklahoma State job speaks volumes. Now, this doesn't mean Robinson is clueless. Far from it. Nobody is questioning whether he understands football, the issue is fit. Robinson's style just doesn't translate to the NFL game. His play calling in Atlanta has been flat, predictable, and frustrating. Defenses know what's coming before the snap. Drives stall out, rhythm disappears, and the offense looks stuck in neutral. The bigger problem? His system doesn't fit Michael Penix Jr. at all. This is the quarterback you're supposed to be building the future of the Falcons around, a young, talented passer trying to find his identity in the NFL. He needs an offensive coordinator who speaks his language, someone whose scheme actually complements his strengths. Instead, it feels like Penix and Robinson are running two different playbooks. The body language on the sideline, the lack of rhythm on the field. It's obvious these two aren't on the same page. And in today's NFL, that's a recipe for disaster. Now add the outside noise. Dez Bryant's endorsement isn't a one-off. If boosters, alumni, and other voices around Oklahoma State keep pushing Robinson's name, it's going to become impossible for him to ignore. He knows his seat in Atlanta is heating up. He knows the results haven't been there. And deep down, he knows that if things don't turn around fast, he might not survive as the Falcons' offensive coordinator. That's why this Oklahoma State opening could be his perfect escape. A return to Stillwater. A chance to coach where he's loved, where he's a legend, where his system actually works. For Robinson, it's a win. For the Falcons, it's also a win. They'd finally get the chance to move on, reset, and bring in a coordinator who actually fits Penix Jr.'s skill set. And who could those replacements be? There are names floating around already. Declan Doyle in Chicago. Shannon Dawson down at Miami, where his offense has turned the Hurricanes into a top 2 team. Brian Johnson, who's been scheming up success in Washington with Jaden Daniels. Or even Jason Vrabel, who's helping Jordan Love thrive in Green Bay. It all circles back to one truth: this offense needs to be built around Michael Penix Jr. period. And right now, you can see it in his eyes, in his press conferences, in his sideline demeanor. He doesn't buy into this system. He's not comfortable. He's not excited. And if your franchise quarterback isn't connected to your coordinator, something has to change. So let's hear it, Falcons fans. If Robinson really does leave for Oklahoma State, who would you want to see calling plays in Atlanta? Drop your dream offensive coordinator pick in the comments, and tell me if you think this is the moment the Falcons finally turn the page. Of course, you'll never hear Michael Penix Jr. step up to the podium and say, "I don't like the play calling." That's just not how it works in the NFL. Quarterbacks have to back their coaches publicly, even if deep down they feel something different. But let's be honest, it doesn't take a genius to see what's going on. Penix doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look like a quarterback who trusts the system. What Penix really needs is simple: a coordinator who runs a timing and rhythm offense. Someone who builds the scheme around quick reads, clean pockets, and precision throws. That's the game Penix thrived in at Washington, and that's the kind of system that could bring out the best in him in Atlanta. Think about the comparisons we've heard over and over: Penix as the left-handed Jared Goff. If that's true, then why not put him in a system that has already turned Jared Goff's career around? Someone like Ben Johnson, who built Detroit's offense into a well-oiled machine, would be the dream. Or even Declan Doyle, who literally comes from that same timing and rhythm coaching tree. These are coordinators who know how to design plays that let a quarterback hit his back foot, fire the ball on time, and move the chains with confidence. That's exactly the style Penix needs. And this is why the Oklahoma State rumors about Zach Robinson make so much sense. His system doesn't fit here. It doesn't match Penix's strengths. It's not building his confidence. But back in Stillwater, Robinson's pistol offense could actually shine again. For Atlanta, letting him go wouldn't just be addition by subtraction. It could open the door for someone new, someone who actually fits their young quarterback. Now let's give QB1 a little credit. Yes, his debut hasn't been perfect. He's struggled against Carolina, and there have been bumps along the way. But that doesn't mean the talent isn't real. Anyone who watched him at Washington knows exactly what he can do. Give him a clean pocket, give him weapons, and let him push the ball downfield. He can light up a defense. He did it on Saturdays, and he can do it on Sundays too. The bottom line is this: the Falcons have a choice to make. Do they keep trying to force Penix into Robinson's system? Or do they finally hand him an offense that feels natural, one built for his strengths? For the future of this franchise, the answer feels obvious. So, Falcons fans, do you believe in Michael Penix Jr. as the long-term answer at quarterback? And what kind of offensive system do you think will unlock his full potential? Timing and rhythm, deep shots, or something else? Drop your answers in the comments. This is your chance to play GM.